All right, so match day 22 in Serie A.
hmm
You brought us a ton of reports, and wow, this was a weekend. It had everything. Close games,
It
tactical, like chess matches, lots to talk about. You ready to get tactical?
Ready to go. I think what was really interesting about this match day is how much it'll affect the rest of the season. You know, the title race, the European spots, even relegation. It's all kind of connected.
Yeah. And speaking of connected, let's start with a match that was all about defense. Torino and Cagliari. Final score 2-0. But Cagliari never even got a shot on goal. What impressed you about Torino's defense?
Well, it was their midfield. They completely shut down Cagliari's playmakers.
hmm.
You know, Cagliari, they like to pass quickly and attack through the middle, but Torino's midfielders, they were always in the right position. It was like they cut off the passing lanes completely.
So it wasn't just about, like, parking the bus. They were actually anticipating Cagliari's moves and shutting them down.
Yeah, exactly. And then on the other end, Torino was so efficient. You know, they scored from a set piece, and then on a counterattack, they took their chances.
Real tactical discipline. All right, let's switch gears to a match that was definitely not disciplined. Como against Atalanta. 2-1 final score. A thriller with a very late winner.
It was back and forth the whole match. Both teams had some great moments. Actually, Como took the lead. For a while, it looked like Atalanta might lose, but Atalanta, they never give up. They just kept going, kept attacking, and finally, in the last couple minutes, they scored.
That late goal, it must have been heartbreaking for Como. But what does it tell us about Atalanta?
It tells us that they believe they can win. They think they can score at any moment, and they fight until the very end. You know, that could take them far this season.
Yeah, that fighting spirit makes it fun to watch. Okay, let's talk about the big one. Napoli against Juventus. Top two teams in the league. And the final score, 2-1 Napoli. This wasn't just a win, it was like a statement.
Oh, yeah. It was a masterclass in attacking football. Both sides were amazing, so fast, so much skill. And the tactical battle was really interesting. Napoli scored first. It was a goal everyone's talking about. A long shot, curled right into the top corner. The keeper had no chance.
Yeah, that sounds like a goal of the season contender. But Juventus, they didn't just give up, did they?
No, no, not at all. They answered right back with a great goal of their own. Quick passes, opened up space on the wing, then a cross, a header, and goal. For a minute, it looked like they might tie it.
But Napoli had more to give.
Oh, yeah. They took control again, and their winning goal was beautiful. So many passes, cutting right through Juventus's defense, and then a perfect finish. It showed how talented they are individually, but also how well they play together.
A real team goal. This win, it has to have sent, like, shockwaves through the league.
For sure. Napoli are serious title contenders. Talent, tactics, and now they believe they can beat anyone.
Okay, let's go from fireworks to a more tactical match. Empoli versus Bologna. It ended 1-1. It sounds like this one was for the real tactical fans.
Yeah, this was a match where the managers, they were trying to outsmart each other. Empoli scored first. They took advantage of a mistake by Bologna's defense, but Bologna didn't panic. Their manager, he made some changes, tightened up the defense, focused on set pieces, and it worked. They scored on a corner kick.
So then it became about the midfield. Both teams trying to control the pace, the flow of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And neither team could really take control. The draw was probably fair, but you could see like every move, every substitution, every tackle was part of a plan.
Sounds like the coaches were taking a lot of notes. All right, now get ready for a wild one. AC Milan against Parma. 5 goals. Milan won 3-2, but it sounds like Parma gave him a real scare.
Yeah, Parma had a plan and they played it perfectly in the first half. They pressed high, forced Milan into making mistakes, and they scored 2 goals really fast. The home crowd was stunned. It looked like Milan might just fall apart.
But Milan, they're known for comebacks, right?
That's right. And they showed it again in this match. They stayed calm, regrouped at halftime. They came out in the second half with a new energy, started playing better, creating chances, and right before halftime, they scored. That goal changed everything. The second half was going to be dramatic.
So it wasn't just about talent for Milan. It was about, like, mental toughness,
Yeah,
adapting.
definitely. They could have given up after those first 2 goals, but they fought back. And in the end, their experience, their quality, it won out. 2 more goals in the second half, including a late one to win it.
Wow, a gutsy performance from Milan.
Yeah.
But Parma, they showed they can be dangerous. Speaking of dangerous, Roma traveled to Udinese and won 2-1. This sounds like a tactical masterclass from Roma's manager, Jose Mourinho.
Mourinho, he's a master. He can read the game, make changes on the fly. Udinese started strong. They tried to stop Roma from building up their attack. They were aggressive. But Mourinho saw that their backline, their defense, was weak against counterattacks. So he told his team, be patient, stay compact, wait for your chance.
So be disciplined. Wait for the perfect moment to attack Udinese's weakness.
Right. And when that moment came, Roma were perfect. They scored on the counterattack. It was quiet in the stadium. But Udinese, they didn't give up either. They fought back, tied the game before halftime. The second half was tense. But then Mourinho, he made a substitution, and it changed the game. He brought in a fast winger, and that stretched Udinese's defense, created space.
He saw weakness, and he took advantage of it.
That's Mourinho. Always thinking ahead. Always looking for an advantage. In the end, Roma were just too good. Too much quality, too flexible tactically. They scored the winning goal late in the match.
Sounds like it was a really exciting match.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to a match where one team was just dominant. Inter Milan. They went to Lecce and won 4-0. They were amazing in attack.
Yeah, this was a statement from Inter. Right from the beginning, they were relentless. Pressing high, winning the ball back, creating chance after chance. Lecce just couldn't handle it.
What stood out to you about Inter?
How ruthless they were. They didn't let Lecce settle into the match. They pressed them constantly. And when they got chances, they scored. Every goal was like perfect movement, passing, and finishing. They're serious about winning the title.
Lecce must have felt completely overwhelmed.
They were. And Inter never stopped. They just kept attacking. 4-0 was the right score.
Yeah, a dominant performance. But now let's talk about a match that nobody expected. Fiorentina. They went to Lazio and won 2-1. What made this win so surprising?
Lazio have been so tough to beat at home this season. So for Fiorentina to go there and win, it means something. They dealt with Lazio's pressure early on, and then they hit them on the counterattack. Really well executed. Their first goal was a perfect example. They won the ball in midfield, then boom, attack. Fast break, great finish.
So solid defense and then clinical on the counterattack.
Exactly. And their second goal was similar. Lazio made a mistake. Fiorentina took advantage. Another fast break and another great finish. It showed that Fiorentina are disciplined tactically, and they can punish you for any mistake.
Lazio must have been shocked. And this upset, it really changes things for the European spots, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it shows that in Serie A, anything can happen. Any team can beat any other team. No easy matches.
That's what makes it so exciting. Now, for every match at the top, there's a tough battle at the bottom. Venezia against Verona, a close one, ending 1-1. What did you see in this relegation battle?
The tension, you could feel it. Both teams, they desperately needed the points. Every tackle was a fight. Every chance felt so important.
So this wasn't about tactics, more about just willpower, determination.
Yeah, definitely. They knew it was at stake. A win could be huge for staying up, but a loss could mean relegation. That pressure, you could see it in every move they made.
I bet the fans were nervous the whole match.
For sure. Neither team could really break through, but they both fought for every inch.
Okay, last match, this incredible match day. Genoa beat Monza 2-0. They looked really confident, really calm.
They were organized and disciplined. They started strong, controlled the pace, scored a nice goal early, and then they defended really well. Monza couldn't do much.
So good defense and clinical in attack.
Yeah. And that good defense, it's become a trend for Genoa recently. Hard to score against them. Their second goal was on a fast counterattack. They're dangerous even when they don't have the ball much.
This win should give them a lot of confidence going forward.
Definitely. They're starting to play well, and this will give them a boost as they try to move up the table.
So there you have it. Match day 22. So many emotions, tactical battles, surprises.
Yeah, there was something for everyone. Attacking football, tough defense, tactical geniuses, and even some upsets. What's exciting is, it's just one match day. There's so much more to come this season.
Exactly. We've only just started to look at everything. So, listener name. Let's talk about some of the big trends from this match day. What tactical stuff did you see?
Well, one thing that was clear is that teams need to be tactically flexible. They can't just have one system. They need to adapt to their opponents, change formations, change their focus. It depends on the situation.
So it's not enough to just have a plan A. You need a plan B, C, D, right?
Exactly. And that's what makes Serie A so fun. It's like a chess match with the managers trying to outsmart each other. Like, remember that Empoli Bologna game? Both managers made changes throughout the match. Or think about how Mourinho approached that Udinese game. He saw their weakness and went after it.
And to be flexible like that, you need players who are, like, smart, right?
Right.
Players who can adapt.
Oh, absolutely. Players who can play different positions, who can read the game, make decisions. We're seeing more players like that in Serie A, and it makes the league even better.
It's amazing to see how the game is changing. It's not just about being strong or having a few stars anymore. It's about teamwork, about being smart, about adapting.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Serie A is so great to watch. There's always something new, something tactical to think about.
Okay, well, let's dig a little deeper into some of these big matches and see what they mean. What do you think match day 22 means for the rest of the season?
Okay, well, let's start with the title race. Napoli beating Juventus was a big deal. They showed that they're not just pretending, they're really contenders.
But it's early in the season, right? Other teams are going to be fighting hard.
Oh, yeah. Inter Milan look very strong, and they're not going to let Napoli just run away with it.
And AC Milan, even though they've had some trouble, they can still win the title. They have the experience, the players. They could be very strong in the second half of the season.
Right. And then there's the race for the European spots. Fiorentina beating Lazio, that makes things really interesting.
Yeah, it's tight at the top of the table. A lot of teams want those Champions League and Europa League spots.
And at the bottom, the relegation battle is getting serious. Venezia and Verona, they're both in trouble after that draw.
Yeah, every point is important for those teams. There are going to be some really tense matches.
For sure. So, listener name, as we keep talking about this match day, what are you thinking? What stories are you most interested in?
Yeah, we've talked about a lot, the tactics, the results, the title race, the European spots, the relegation battle. It's all connected.
And that's what makes Serie A so great. Every match is important. Every goal can change everything.
Right. Okay, let's dive deeper into some of the individual performances, some of the tactical details that we saw. We'll look at the big stories and maybe even make some guesses about what's going to happen next. You ready to go deeper?
Yeah, let's do it. One thing I kept thinking about this week was how different teams are controlling the midfield. You know, like Torino, for them, it's not about being like physically strong. It's about positioning. They're like chess players, you know, always thinking ahead.
It's that tactical awareness,
Yeah.
right? Like you were saying.
Yeah.
Not just where the ball is, but where it's going to be. Seems like a lot of teams are doing that.
Exactly. Like Napoli, for example, against Juventus. They weren't just trying to win every tackle. They were moving, passing, always giving each other options. It was like a dance, and Juventus couldn't figure it out.
So two totally different ways to control the midfield, but both worked really well. Makes you wonder if that's the new key to winning in Serie A, not just being tough, but being smart in the midfield.
Yeah, I think you're right. Even in the Empoli-Bologna match, the midfield was so important. Empoli, they disrupted how Bologna usually plays, made them rely on set pieces. It shows that even if you don't have the best players, if your midfield is organized, you can cause problems for anyone.
Wow, this is making me think differently about how I watch matches. Now I'm going to be watching the midfield battles, seeing who's controlling the game.
That's what's great about, really getting into a sport. You start to see all these little things most people miss.
Speaking of little things, I noticed a lot of matches were decided by late goals. Atalanta, AC Milan, Roma too. It's like those last few minutes are so important now.
That's where the mental part of the game is so important, don't you think? Not just being in shape, but staying focused when the pressure is on. Like AC Milan, when they came back. Yeah, they've got talent, but they also showed a lot of, mental toughness to come back after being down 2 goals.
It's that never give up attitude, right? We hear about it, but it's different to actually see it. Is that a Serie A thing? Or is it because it's, getting late in the season?
That's a good question. Every league has its own style, and Serie A has always been about tactics and defense. But yeah, as the season goes on and the games become more important, being mentally tough matters even more. Teams know every point is important, so they fight until the end.
Makes for some exciting finishes. We were talking earlier about Napoli's win over Juventus. Big statement. But nobody thought Fiorentina could beat Lazio and Rome. How big of a deal is that upset? Not just for them, but for the whole league.
Fiorentina winning, it just shows you can't predict Serie A. On paper, Lazio should have won easily. Good players, home game, fighting for a Champions League spot. But Fiorentina had a plan. They stopped Lazio from playing well, and they scored when they had chances.
It really changes who we think will get those European spots, right? It's anyone's game now.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. Nobody can relax, because anyone can win. It reminds us that things change quickly, and you never know what's going to happen.
That's what I love about Serie A. Okay, but while some teams are fighting for Europe, others are just trying not to get relegated. You talk about that Venezia Verona draw. I think either of them can stay up.
It's going to be tough for both of them.
Yeah.
What I noticed about that match wasn't the tactics, but the effort. Every tackle, every header, it was like a battle. It was like a symbol of the whole relegation fight, just trying to survive.
You can really feel how much it means to those teams, right? It's not just about the points. It's about, representing your city, showing you belong in Serie A.
Yeah, for sure. And that pressure, it can either make you stronger or it can break you. It'll be interesting to see how Venezia and Verona do. Will they give up or will they find a way to stay up?
It's those stories, the human side of it, that make it even more dramatic than just the tactics. It's not just about formations and stats. It's about the players, the coaches, the fans. They're all part of this.
And that's what makes football so great, right? It's full of passion, emotion. It's like life,
Yeah.
The ups, the downs, the surprises.
We talked about tactics, mental toughness, upsets.
Yeah.
But looking ahead, is there anything, like any tactic or team philosophy that you're really interested in right now?
I'm really fascinated by Inter Milan and how they press, how they never give the other team any space. Like we saw against Lecce, it's not just about winning the ball back. It's about like suffocating the other team, making them make mistakes. And then when they get the ball, they attack so fast.
It's like controlled chaos, right?
Right.
But it works. Think we'll see more teams playing like that in Serie A?
I think so. It's becoming popular all over Europe, and we're seeing more of it in Serie A. You need players who are really fit and disciplined, but when it works, it's really hard to beat.
Definitely something to watch out for. So, listener name, as we finish up this part of our deep dive, what tactics have impressed you the most so far?
Think about the teams that surprised you, the matches that made you think differently. What new tactics did you see? What little changes did you notice?
We've given you the basics, but now it's your turn to really look closely, to analyze, to make up your own mind. That's the best part, We're all learning and discovering together.
Yeah, it's like we've got all these different tactics now, and we get to see how each team uses them to try to win. Some teams are trying new stuff, while others are sticking with what they know.
And what's cool is that there's no one right way to play. We've seen teams be successful with all sorts of styles. Like Torino, they're so strong defensively, and then you have Napoli, they're all about attacking. Both work. It's all about finding what works best for your players, right? What fits their style.
Exactly. And then it's about, doing it well and changing it up depending on who you're playing against. It's always changing, and that's what makes Serie A so unpredictable and exciting.
We've talked a lot about tactics, but we can't forget about the players.
Yeah.
We've seen some amazing individual performances, some great teamwork, and teams that just never give up. Who are some of the players that have really impressed you?
Well, it's hard not to talk about Kvaratskhelia at Napoli. He's been incredible this season, scoring goals, setting up his teammates, and just causing problems for every defense he faces.
Yeah, he's really fun to watch. So much energy, so creative.
Totally. And then you have the veterans, like Ciro Immobile at Lazio and Olivier Giroud at AC Milan. They're still leading their teams, scoring big goals.
What about some of the younger players, the up-and-coming guys?
Oh, there's a lot of talent coming up. Sandro Tonali at AC Milan, he's becoming a great midfielder. And Giacomo Raspadori at Napoli, he can score goals, and he can play in a lot of different positions.
It's awesome to see these young stars coming into Serie A. Okay, I know you can't predict the future, but based on what you've seen so far, what do you think will happen the rest of the season? Who's going to win the title? Who's going to get those European spots? And who's going to be fighting to avoid relegation?
Well, if I had to guess, I'd say Napoli have the best chance to win the Scudetto. They've got a good mix of young and experienced players. They play exciting football, and they seem to really believe in what they're doing. But Inter and AC Milan are going to be right there with them.
Okay, what about the European spots?
That's a tough one. I think Roma, Lazio, and Atalanta all have a good chance. And you can't forget about Fiorentina. They could make a run.
And at the bottom of the table?
I think it's going to be close. A lot of teams are in danger. Venezia and Verona, they need to start playing better. And Sampdoria and Cremonese, they need to start getting some points.
Sounds like it's going to be a really exciting end to the season. Every match is going to matter.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride. But that's Serie A, right? The passion, the surprises, the tactics, the stories, it's all part of what makes it great.
So, listener name, as we wrap up our deep dive into Matchday 22, I hope you're excited to watch the next matches and that you've learned a little bit more about Serie A.
Yeah, remember, it's not just about the score. It's about understanding why things happen. Watch the tactics, the players, how the game changes.
Because when you really start to look closely, That's when you see how beautiful this game is.
So keep watching, keep asking questions, keep learning. Serie A is a journey, and we're all on it together.
And until next time, Forza Calcio.